Turn and burn, baby.
Grip it.
Wet that whistle.
Grip
that
it.
flute.
Wet that whistle.
Yeah,
That's my new
right,
favorite.
I just set a new course. We're going to Cloud City. It's a mighty good gin and tonic. She makes me up another.
Impressive, now release your anger. You must have sensed that your friends are in danger.
Oh, why'd you slice off my hand?
It's imperative that you understand. Obi-Wan would never bother. Tell me too about your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
Then there's something I must reveal. Then I'm your father. 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 I'm your father.
Knock him out the box, Luke. Knock him out. Knock him out the box, Luke. Knock him out. Knock him out the box, Luke. Knock him out. Knock him out the box, Luke. Knock him out. Knock him out the box, Luke.
Nick me the bags, Luke.
Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody. How are you all feeling? It is a great day to be with y'all. We are so excited to get into just a little bit of everything today. We're very excited.
That's true.
It's an episode before a holiday, which I'm very excited. Those are always fun. There's nothing really Thanksgiving planned for this, but here we are. Just
I'm
wanted to
thankful for
acknowledge
all of you. Okay.
we are thankful for all of the people who have listened. Like we are, and I say that because we are very close to a very significant milestone, a 10,000 listed, 10,000 total download milestone. So to be grateful, I appreciate. So yeah, I'm very grateful.
Almost Christmas time. Brian, I do want to go back to you and just say, Brian, I am also grateful for you. He skipped over that and went right to the 10K downloads. I just wanted to let you know. I heard you. I hear you. I see you. I value you.
Are we doing this right now?
Brother, I just want to let you know, Brian, I appreciate y'all. I'm thankful for y'all. You know what I'm thankful for? I'm thankful for 10K downloads. I was like, damn.
I'm also thankful for all of you.
Good, man.
I know.
This podcast won't last long.
We're going to put me on blast here within fucking 2 minutes of this thing.
This will end at 10K, apparently. This
is going to end at 3 minutes in because I'm just going to take my ball and go home.
No, it's okay. It's all together. I know, Doug. I know you're thankful.
Okay.
I mean,
make him say it though. Make him say it though, Brian.
Brian and Marcus.
Make him say it.
I am so thankful for who you are all as
into the
people
mic.
and for my friendship that I have with you all. Every day it makes me feel outstanding.
More.
You're gonna give me the Kylo Ren one.
More.
It's just can't do it.
Excellent.
We got some sillies to get out, everybody. So if you could tell, this is going to be off the rails already.
Promise they're going to get out. They here. So
look, I said this in the chat. We're going to be a handful tonight, to borrow a phrase from my bestie Brian. We're going to be a handful.
We're gonna again not talking about himself. Yes, we are. We're gonna be a handful. In order to do this well, though, and in order to do it right, I need to make sure everybody is welcomed and introed and very excited to be here. So I'm gonna kick it on over to Brian Roush, aka rumored to be cast as Dr. Doom. Brian, how you feeling, sir? Or doctor? How are you feeling, sir?
I'm feeling great. I do want to start off. I am not. I cannot confirm or deny that I'm playing Dr. Doom. I know there's a lot of rumors out there about Fantastic Four, and I felt like it would be best to get ahead of it. I can't confirm or deny anything, so I just figured I'd put it as my Chiron. But no, feeling good. It's a holiday. It's a holiday week, and it's like the shortest holiday week I feel like of the year. So like at work. It's funny because like you just have so many people. I feel like most of us I feel like most of us like are just kind of like we're running out the clock, right? We're running this clock out. Like no one really wants
Thanksgiving.
Nobody wants
Everything is an after Thanksgiving problem. Like,
yeah, like unless you have like a big presentation this week, like everyone's kind of like, do we really need to make more work for each other when we're all just trying to get a turkey in the oven? Like I don't know if we need to. And like for some people, I know they're like, I've looked forward to this week to work so hard because I won't be bothered. And I'm like, that's probably not me, but go you. I'm ready. I'm ready for turkey mode. I'm starting to wrap some stuff up, and next week I'll happily start all that stuff. But no, I'm in a good place. I'm in a good zone there. So very excited to celebrate the holiday. Get be merry and thankful. So I'm in a good spot, Doug. How are you? AI sticker champion.
Yo, I'm doing great. I'm really doing great.
Why you got that name?
Despite circumstances, I'm doing great. Harrison had a stomach bug this weekend, so as a dad, just trying to make it out. I'm always impressed, and I kind of had this thought. This sounds weird. It was a weird thought of like, where do kids learn to throw up? Like, and I know that that's a weird statement to make.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's not it's because they learn everything from us.
Good question though.
They learn everything from us like, as parents. And then you get to this moment where it's like their body's betraying them and they just feel terrible.
Yeah.
There's really nothing you could do for a stomach bug other than like wait out the clock until you're done.
Where do kids learn to throw up? That's a good question.
It's kind of one of those moments where I was like, how do they just know like, nope, I gotta put it somewhere. Like it is it's an involuntary response. So that's the biology, but like, and the fact that he didn't cry, he would just be like, bleh, and then he would be like,
really?
Ooh, I don't like this.
Boy,
basically, it's
like what? He was like picking up his dry cleaning, like that's annoying.
I don't like this at all.
If I don't do it, somebody will. Like,
I mean,
I think
it's funny you say it's a natural response because I'll never forget. It was like the first Christmas we were in this house, and Liam was 3. He had never thrown up before. And quite literally, he was so scared. And like, I look back on this with humor, but at the time, he would just start screaming. He would just start screaming. Ah! And you're like, oh, he's gonna throw up. He's gonna throw up. He's just like, he's like crying.
Yeah.
At least there's a warning. At least there's some type of warning before the throw up comes.
And of course,
Harrison was like quiet, and I was like,
really?
buddy, give us a heads up.
We had a foghorn compared to that. It was just like, all right, everybody come on.
A foghorn.
Like, oh, Maggie, get the bowl. Get the bowl.
Have you ever seen like a kid just straight face you and throw up? Like they don't move, they don't budge, they just stand there and it just like comes out. Like I've seen that before. Like little babies.
I haven't seen that before.
Like it's a toddler and they'll stand there and it's just like they don't want to stop playing. Or they've eaten too much food or too much something, and then all of a sudden they just kind of go like, and they just like that's it, and it's like, oh, you didn't move, you look me dead in my eyes.
Any of this,
cool.
Yeah. Well, I hope he feels better.
He's doing better. He stayed home from school today, and he did. So Harrison has approached Star Wars with trepidation.
Okay.
He's like, I tried. I think. With Star Wars in particular, there is so much of a mythos and so much energy behind Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader.
That's true.
That if you try to start at episode 1, they're like, these are not the people I know.
Yeah.
They're like, you're gonna have to start somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so because I tried with episode 1, and he's like, Dad, I am not feeling this. And I was like, okay, cool. Today, because he was home sick, I was like, buddy, your sister's not here.
Yeah.
We could give this a shot. And he's like, all right, let's do it. And he was on board. Like he was ready and excited for it.
What did you show him?
Huh?
What did you show him this time?
I showed him A New Hope.
Oh, okay.
Excellent. I went back and started with A New Hope, and he was like, I really like this.
Sweet.
So it's also really funny because Harrison keeps pronouncing certain words in Star Wars.
Yeah. Keep
wrong.
Going.
Good.
You know, do you hear Brian in the back?
Yeah, he's like excited. He's like, okay, cool.
Like
Good choice.
Gotta
start somewhere. Yeah, starting out young, Doug. Yep. That's how it goes. He keeps calling lightsabers lifesavers.
Yes.
Did the same thing.
And Darth Vader is Dark Vader, and I was like,
the same thing.
Oh,
it's
or Darth. Darth Vader.
Oh, with an F.
Yeah,
No, this
Vader.
is dark, like DARK Vader.
dark.
And I was like, "Ooh, buddy." I mean, he's
he's
dark,
black,
but yeah,
I mean,
but
yeah,
you know,
on multiple levels.
yes,
that voice, yeah, for sure.
It is. Yep. And so,
sultry Vader, if you will.
yeah. And so we got through it, but he was like, "Dad, I like this. I like that. This is nice. I enjoy this." And
Okay, that's good. Here's the thing with episode 1, though. I could see why he may not cling to that one immediately, because the Jedi shit don't get popping until second half ish. Like, you got to get to a certain point before Qui-Gon just puts peace aside and just starts kicking ass. You know what I mean?
And remember, it starts with a diplomatic mission.
Yes,
that is not a good entry point for a 6-year-old.
That's
like
what all children want to see and will gravitate towards.
It is a lot of talking.
Children are like, give me more politics. And that's why A New Hope is so good, because it's like literally 2 ships firing at each other. Like, it's right away.
It's the one little ship, and you're like, wow. And then you're like, that's a big ship. It's very simple. Everyone,
you're better than me, because I definitely would have started him off at episode 3, because that gets right to pop. That get it popping. Or episode 2, the Clone Wars. After you get over that hump of I don't like saying and a bunch of other shit like that, like, and then the mass murder of all of the people from Anakin Skywalker. But other than that,
I look, we do have droidicas in episode 1. I see you, Roman, and they are cool because
what is a droidica for our fans listening?
Oh, a droidica is a droid combat. It's a combat droid
for Christmas games.
Well, no, they're basically they're rollies. So they roll around and then they unfurl, kind of like a scorpion, and then they have 2 sets of double laser cannons, and they have a shield generator. So it's kind of like an immediate power fantasy, because they just kind of walk around on these crab legs, just blasting, and like you can't hurt them because they have shield generators. So that is cool, capital C.
Brian, I'm trying to be very respectful of your description. It was really well done. Marcus is out here just wiling some shit out.
What did he say?
He's like, "Is that the toy you play with at Christmas time?" And I was like,
"The droidica."
And I was like,
"Dreidel?
Did you mean a dreidel?" Like. Marcus, in the times that we are in, we cannot be.
I get my words confused, man. I heard droidica and I was like, oh, dreidel. You can't tell me those two don't sound similar. Like,
waiting for Harrison now to be like, oh no, the dreidels are following them.
We should all learn about dreidels and stuff too. That's not a shot. That was true. I just thought a dreidel and a droidica sounded the same.
I did.
Yeah. No, Doug, good choices. I applaud you for trying to start him on episode 1. That's a bold maneuver, and I think you made the right call switching to New Hope, because that's the slice. That's just
the meat and potatoes right there.
It's good. It's so good.
What if you could go back?
I do.
Both of y'all. What was your original entry point of Star Wars, and what would it be now? Like, knowing that you've seen as much as you can. It could be any movie. Past, future, present, you could be any age. What would you think your entry point, a good entry point for you, would be now? It would be the same.
I mean, mine would be the same. I mean, I started with A New Hope, and so I would continue on with that one, like, as you know, because I feel like it's the prerequisite. Like, it's the prerequisite for going backwards, but then it's also, if I want to go forwards, like, you need that group of 3 before you can go and do anything else. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. New Hope was the only thing available for me as a child.
That's also accurate.
Episode 1 came out when I was in middle school, so I guess like if I waited to get into Star Wars, I could have started there. But it was very clear that it was like, no, this starts before the other movies that came out. They hyped the originals so much before the episode 1 came out that it was like you had to see them. So now, and this is what I talk about too when we talk about Star Wars. Like, everybody has a different entry point now. Like, we're 30 years. We're not 30 years past that. No, we're 20-ish now, almost 30. We're like 25 years past that.
Real close.
Yeah, like of what I'm talking about. And in that 25 years, you could have started with Clone Wars. You could have started, like you said, with Revenge of the Sith. Someone could have started with Ahsoka. Like, it's just so many things to so many people now that, like, it's so. Which I kind of think
work backwards too.
Yeah, you can still work backwards, and I would still do the original, like the 1977 Star Wars New Hope, only because it just gets you into the thick of it. And I see why Fox told George Lucas to do that, because when he made the movies, he was like, no, I want to make one big movie with all 6 episodes. And they were like, absolutely not. That's a terrible idea. And he's like, no, you don't do
that.
And they're like, actually, we do get it. That's an awful idea. Make a 2-hour movie from one of the episodes you gave us. And then he chose A New Hope. So, yeah.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say is, Harrison did do this thing when we were watching it, the opening, obviously a Corellian Corvette running away from a Star Destroyer. He did look at me when he saw the Star Destroyer and he goes, what ship is that? And I was like, oh, that's a Star Destroyer. He goes, Triangle. And I'm like, yep, it is. You're right. Like, Harrison is out here hating on the Empire's like rudimentary
basic ass design.
Like, yeah, okay, Star Wars.
It's a triangle. Get the weak ass triangle out of here.
Weak ass triangle. Like, calm down. You're 6.
Harrison, like, you need to understand, these are not triangles. They are daggers in the stars. They are mighty machines of conquering.
Ryan, I hope we can visit you soon so you can explain it. I want to record this. Like, all right, Harrison, it's good to see you. So they look like big triangles, huh? And he's gonna be like, "What the fuck is Brian talking about?"
I can't wait for him to watch Empire Strikes Back when it's like, "Oh yeah, you saw one Star Destroyer last movie. Here's 8 a bigger triangle."
Right? Yeah. I went on for far too long. Marcus J. Destin, aka the Empire has.
The
Empire has no riz.
It does not.
It does not.
Sauceless ass Empire. That's why the Emperor lost. You ain't got no. You don't get no bitches. Empire, the Chancellor. You don't get no.
Basic shapes. They basic.
That's exactly right. Marcus J. Destin, aka Knock 'em out the box, Luke. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. We here. It was a Monday. Today felt like a Monday, like all the way through, man. It was tough. But good to be here on the pod. Excited to talk about a lot of shit today. It's gonna be a jam-packed episode as usual. And I'm tired, so I'm feeling reckless. So there's that. There's your warning.
That's good. That's the best.
Respectfully,
that's my
reckless,
favorite.
But yeah.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite is when you're respectfully reckless.
We're here.
Gentlemen, before we get to our lovely slate of news, we have to play a game we like to call Catch That Quotable.
Catch that quotable.
The silky sounds of Marcus J. Gentlemen, are you ready for this week's quote?
Hit me.
All right. You'd think I'd go horse for a player with no potential. When I ignore you, then you worry.
Huh?
What? You think I'd go horse for a player with no potential? When I ignore you, then you worry.
I know what this is.
Okay, right off the rip.
Yeah, I know what it is, but I'm gonna let y'all discuss amongst yourselves. I just want to say I put this podcast on my back for Catch That Quotable for like 3 episodes in the past.
You really do. It's
you know what I mean.
It's concerning, frankly.
It is.
For
it is.
me.
It's alarming that I don't know more of these.
I'll say this. I'll give you a slight hint here because I know it for sure. Oh, we're 15.
Okay.
Oh, even 100. Okay, good. So we are raising money.
Know it for sure.
I know it for sure.
Okay.
We do raise money from Catch That Quotable for those that are listening for the first time or our last time listeners, whatever the case may be. We donate money. We're gonna every time we hit $100, we make a donation to an organization, and we'll make that decision after this is over because we're definitely hitting that $100 today. I will tell you this, Doug.
God damn.
You should know this movie.
We know from this podcast that this is not helpful.
We have talked about it on the podcast before.
Well, our clock ran out, so
the clock is out. We talked about this on the podcast before, and it's one that should hit close to home to you.
Is this Love and Basketball?
You're damn right it is. Love and Basketball.
All right.
You finally got Love and Basketball.
We got Love and Basketball,
I barely gave you a damn hint, so that's really impressive, actually.
Wow.
I was gonna say your wife loves this movie.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, I did it. Look, guys, we did it.
Call that the Britney special. Well done.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
I don't know.
The Britney special.
She'll be fine with it. She'll be fine.
I don't know. I was trying to be encouraging.
It's fine.
Happy Turkey Day to you,
Roman.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Thank
being
you,
an
Roman
avid
Mars.
supporter.
Always being a special supporter, Roman.
Seriously.
So we made it to 100. So we will we're gonna get we'll pull some list of charities and we'll make that announcement and then we'll just kind of go from there. So but gentlemen, we all have a piece of news that we found interesting from the last week or so. Who'd like to get us kicked off? Actually, Marcus, let's kick it off with you, sir. Because I can. Marcus, what do you have for news this week?
All right, so we all know that since the strike, I'm gonna make one initial statement and then get in my news a little bit. Since the strike has been over, the SAG after strike, good Lord, SAG after strike has been announced as over, at least for the next 3 years until they swing back around. They have been making announcements on top of announcements on top of announcements. And so what I want to do is I'm going to call this, because I'm going to swing it to Brian because I feel like our news are kind of the same. I'm going to call this the casting couch corner. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Casting couch corner. Okay. You don't have to do anything you don't want to. We just want you to get comfortable.
Take a seat on the casting couch, but wipe it off first.
Nice black casting couch. Make sure you wipe it down with a Clorox wipe. So
that's right.
There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of new trailers. There's a lot of new movies that were announced just today alone. A shit ton of new trailers dropped and a shit ton of new movies are being announced. So my portion is Superman Legacy. Okay. Directed by James Gunn. All right. We have already had our initial casting of Superman and Lois, and I will go down there. But the newest news before we get into it is the casting, which I'm assuming will round out things a little bit for us, is the casting of Lex Luthor. So Nicholas Hoult, who is plays Beast in the newer X-Men movies, and he also is in the vampire movie with Nicolas Cage that came out. I forgot what that was called.
Renfield.
Yeah, Renfield. And what else would people know him? He's been in a lot of different things.
He was also in Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, that's right.
What the character was.
He was in that the Menu. He was in the Menu.
He was in the Menu. That is probably one of the more recent ones, huh? And so basically, here's what's happening. So the release date for this is going to be July 25th, I do believe. And it has not budged from its original date. And James Gunn is really excited. He's really going. He sent a picture of his production board wall, which is filled with a bunch of different things inspired by Superman. And so Superman Legacy will get released July 11, 2025, directed by James Gunn. David Cornsweet is going to play Superman himself / Clark Kent. And then Rachel Brosnahan is going to play Lois Lane, and then Nicholas Hoult is going to be Lex Luthor. There was also some other castings yesterday that happened with the one of the villains in the movie. I heard Brainiac is going to be a secret villain, but it's going to be Maria Gabriela de Faria was cast as the engineer role, and apparently that's from the Authority movie that they're going to do to connect to Superman.
Okay.
Lots of pieces. So if you've been paying attention, there's a bunch of other characters in here, like Gal Gardner. There's a bunch of other different heroes in here. And what they're saying is James Gunn, straight from him, says Superman Legacy kicks off his DCU. So everything that happens before this will lead into it. Everything will be connected. But, you know, some universes like Blue Beetle, Aquaman may change, all that kind of stuff as they wrap that kind of shit up. But Superman Legacy kicks off, and it's not going to be an origin story. That's kind of where we are. So I want y'all.
Fantastic! I don't need to see that goddamn ship crash into Kansas again.
Pull Spider-Man Homecoming. We don't. Everybody knows it. We can Google it.
We don't need to do it.
I was going to come at Doug for coming sideways at Superman and the damn ship in Kansas, but you're right.
I'm right. Like, I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I don't need to see Bruce Wayne's parents shot in an alley again. Like, we get it. Like, we know how they're here at this point in time. I
would argue a lot of people don't know the story of Superman, right?
Really?
I don't think that they don't know the last son of Krypton part, because it happens.
Oh, like what happened on Krypton?
Yeah, like that part of like how he gets here. I don't think we need to see it. I'm not saying we need to see that again, because even in Superman Returns, they show his ship crashing again, but this because he was stuck on a different planet. Yeah, he was grown as hell when he left. I don't think that they, as Man of Steel did it really, really well to kind of show you. You know what? Let me shut the fuck up. No coronavirus. I will not tell you in detail about Krypton, but I feel like there are a lot of stories that you can tell about Krypton. I don't think they'll do it. Maybe they'll do it in the Supergirl movie. But what are y'all thoughts on this?
I mean, I really like.
Let's start with the casting and the cast in general. What are your thoughts on that?
I like Nicholas Hoult. Like, I think that there's a certain portion of him. I think if he can take that character from the Menu and he can make it arch and make it like if he can like make it really, because he had this like entitled sense of self, especially the way he was talking to Anna Taylor-Joy. Like, I think if you can take that and then you make that and you boost it up to like 11, like I feel like he's gonna do awesome as Lex Luthor.
I agree.
Because Lex Luthor has this like, I always envisioned him as this like, has this higher, holier sense of self, like this sort of like, and that's the reason why he gets so frustrated with Superman is that like, you know, he's worked hard to get what he has everything, and then along comes this, you know,
God,
American dream guy, like this god from the sky that he can't have one up on, and it just eats away at him. So like I think he'll do a good job with it.
And I think the other thing too is I think Lex Luthor needs just a total, like, we need to look at this character totally different. And I think James Gunn can do that because we had the Jesse Eisenberg Luthor and I thought it was fine. I wanted to see more. I actually don't feel like he got enough screen time to make too much of an impression, but I thought it was fine.
Fair.
And the Kevin Spacey iteration definitely felt like
forgot about that one.
He watched, I think Gene Hackman was
He definitely watched Gene Hackman.
Definitely watched
Gene Hackman and then was like, I'll do that, but I'm Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
And so, and
also fine.
What'd you say?
Also fine.
Yeah, like it's all serviceable in a Superman movie because you want to be focusing on Superman. However, I think that like as you read the comics and when you see Lex Luthor's motivations and how why he does the things that he does, to me, in my interpretation of Lex Luthor, it's not that he like wants dominion over Superman. He wants to like low key. He wants to be Superman.
Yes,
Lex Luthor.
I was just about to say that,
power, right? Like he wants that power. And I feel like that part is lost a lot of the time. And I know a lot of folks are like, just cast Bryan Cranston. He's perfect. And I was just like, I feel like people are saying this because he looked bald in Breaking Bad and was a bad guy. And you just want to transplant that. And it's like, I think Bryan Cranston is a phenomenal actor. And I love Breaking Bad and the character of Walter White and everything he's done with it. But I think Nicholas Hoult can kind of bring this explosiveness to it where he can unearth some of this character of Lex where it's just like, oh no, like he's not totally evil. He just wants to be the most powerful being, and Superman is, and that makes him angry, makes him get on the, makes him get down on everyone around him. And I feel like Nicholas Hoult can do that.
Agreed.
I feel like there are glimpses of Nicholas Holt's beast that can kind of scream Lex Luthor. And I want to get to this point that Roman made in the chat. The best iteration of Lex Luthor I've seen thus far is definitely Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville, because it was a series. They had time to build up the Lex and Clark relationship first before they just completely turned him to a bad guy. Now, obviously, they botched that somewhere around the 7th, 8th through the 10th season until he came back. And so clearly they botched that shit. But you're right. There are levels to Lex. Now, shout out to Jesse for his iteration and Zach for casting. I see what they were going for. They really wanted to embrace that that eccentric side of Lex more, which comes off as the Riddler. Bryan Cranston is good, and that is the angry side of Lex. That is like just pure chaos. I am the motherfucking man. You know what I mean? Like, do you know who I am? Which I know why people wanted him casted, because I kind of would have said the same thing. But I think now is an opportunity for this guy, for Hope to grow with his Lex a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree with that wholeheartedly. They wanted the Bryan Cranston folks wanted the I am the one who knocks version of Lex. They wanted 100%. The like that type of energy. So yeah, I agree. Like, I'm excited. I think he'll do a good job and be, like you said, be able to grow with it. So that's a cool casting. If it happens, that's the other thing. Like, it's still just a rumor at this point. So
honestly, at this point, James Gunn, with everything I know about James Gunn and everything I've read about James Gunn and what we've seen, I mean, like he walked into the Suicide take two. He walked into the Suicide Squad just totally cold, and he made a phenomenal movie. Just out of the blue. And so the idea that he can cast his own folks, that he can tell his own story, I think this could be really special. Like this is the first time in a while I am like hyped for a Superman anything.
Yeah.
The
other idea is the fact that Hulk went in and auditioned for Superman and didn't get it. And he also auditioned for Batman and didn't get it. And now he's gotten Lex Luthor, right?
That's wild.
So it's like, this is really funny to me that you've been able to see the two superhero side of shit, but I could definitely see like you inputting some of your spite on not getting those roles
100%.
into this. And how much fun is it to be the bad? Like, of course, they might portray Lex as good guy turns bad by the end of Superman Legacy, right? Because there is, like you said, another side to Lex. But how fun is it to just be the bad guy? Like, that's just fun.
That has to be the best part.
That's where you get to chew the most scenery. That's where you get to make the most bold statements. I mean, like, look at James Brolin as Thanos. He's clearly having fun.
Look at
movies.
Look at Jason Momoa in Fast 10. Like, that was
Good point.
He had a lot of fun playing that one. Because he just got to be kind of like out there and weird, but also menacing, like at the same time. So, like, I would much rather play a villain.
I forgot that movie exists.
Nope. Because I didn't watch after 3 up until 9. So
I did. As a
you
quick
get away with a lot of shit.
As a quick
I've
deviation,
gotten away with a lot of it.
I started looking at all the episodes we did this year because I was feeling a little retrospective. Since we're about to hit 10K downloads, make sure to subscribe to our Patreon, by the way. And I hit the Fast and Furious episode, and I was like, I barely remember what we talked about in this movie. Like, and most podcasts I look at for us, I'm like, oh, I remember this joke, or I remember someone feeling passionately about this subject. And I look at that podcast title and I'm like, the only thing I remember about this is we joked about Gal Gadot's cameo. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I can remember.
There was a while there though where we had to watch like 5 movies back to back. And in that stretch, I don't think I could tell you.
I went blind. I was like, I don't know where I am right now, but we got to turn this shit.
It was the Guardians 3 to like Little Mermaid stretch. I feel like
that was a stretch.
No, Flash. It was Flash. We ended with Flash. I think.
Imagine that's how you ended all.
And we all like collectively lit a cigarette and was like, never again.
I want to make a comment about that too, right? Shout out to James Gunn, shout out to Superman Legacy. Super excited about that. Super excited to see where y'all going.
Yes.
I think the one thing I have about this is the fact that it is so new and so young. So I don't know if he will. Now, James Gunn is James Gunn, but I don't know if he'll nail it the first time. I think this may be a casting and a storyline and the way that he goes about it that will have to grow on people. Kind of like Peacemaker. You know what I mean? It's so new. It's so fresh. It's this. Even Guardians, when it came out, although it was good, right? And Scooby-Doo, even when it came out. Now, James Gunn is still James Gunn. But this is a lot of characters. He likes balancing a lot of characters, a few characters, and surrounding his main leads with this wasn't the statement I was going to make, but surrounding his main leads with other characters and other storylines that give them layers. But I do think that the initial response will not be that good. Now, my comment I'm going to make is I wish everybody would stop comparing the Marvels and the money flow that they've had to the Flash of the failure. Now, I know that the Flash is now the spokesperson for all things comic book failure. I got it. I understand it.
Yeah.
But the Marvels, to me, there's a difference between the Marvels is a good movie that just isn't performing well because they couldn't promote the damn movie. Right,
amongst other things,
amongst other things, absolutely. And so, like, I just need everybody to just cool it. Like, this is the worst gross opening weekend since The Flash. That'll tell you everything you need to know. No, the fuck it doesn't. Go watch a damn movie.
I mean, well, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous on so many aspects because you can watch the Marvels and you can also talk about the beginning, the middle, and the end very clearly, and you can watch the Flash. And I would just like to see what people think about the same question about a beginning, a middle, and an end. All of the Marvels stuff that continues. This is gonna be my by the way, I think this is going to pull an Elemental, like you mentioned, Marcus. I'm very curious. I'm going to be tracking this for the long run. of what that box office looks like for the Marvels, because I think it comes back after December, but we'll see.
Because what's her name is on a run. She carrying that shit on her back by herself right now.
Iman Vellani.
Oh my God.
Who is a treasure? Like, just
I mean, she has two really great quotes. So the headline that'll get buried after this quote is that they saw a 75% drop off in theater attendance for the movie. Like that's just, and that's a like it's just something that happened. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just a thing that happened. I believe Elemental had a similar result, but Iman Vellani said like, that's something for Bob Iger to worry about. Like, just like, which is like the fucking biggest quote and out there, because I think the other thing that's a larger portion of this is it's like okay, so it did, but there was somebody I was talking to, that said like, oh, I wasn't 100% sure if I wanted to see it, so we just made the decision not to go.
Right.
That's it. That's
just what's happening. Like it's not indicative that it's bad. It's just there's a lot going on, and if they're not 100%, they're just not going. But that's happening to everybody.
Yeah.
The stupid Hunger Games prequel saw only like $44 million in the box office this past weekend.
Yeah.
Which should have been gangbusters with how well the original 3 did.
People were disappointed with that too.
Let's not try to say like, oh, this is all you need to know. No, there's a lot of nuance here, and it's the economics of cinema. Like that's what this is. And even economists would tell you that there is no one clear-cut answer for anything happening the way it's happening.
Look, I can talk about price control. I would love to talk about price controls again. But yeah, like the economics of movie going right now, like that's a big part of it.
A big part of it.
That's really funny. James Gunn, this just came out through the Hollywood Handle. James Gunn reportedly approached Bradley Cooper for the role of Lex Luthor in Superman Legacy. Nicholas Hoult ended up getting the role. Michael Rooker is rumored to play Sam Lane in Superman Legacy. So they are literally coming out.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Marvel reportedly delayed Captain America because they felt the action sequences weren't as satisfying as the first film. Disney is no longer releasing the Bike Riders. There's so much shit that is just coming out. Once the floodgates just like open the floodgates of heaven. Like it's just been news topic after news topic after news topic after casting.
But it's all been pent up.
I think the other portion of that, though, like that's also it. Like, they've painted the ceiling with all the news that they've been sitting on.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to say. I said blue balls. You said they painted the ceiling.
Yep. Let your mind take you there.
It's my fault. Got it.
No, it's not. I had a very unique scene. Do you guys remember the original Scary Movie?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, when they're in the freezer.
No. Do you remember the first time that like the version in the bedroom and he has his release and she's plastered to the ceiling? That's the imagery that I had. Like I was trying to go for, which is very funny to me. But
so it wasn't my fault. That's what I wanted.
No, that was a Doug premium.
I'm just a little sick. That's just it. I think the other thing that's a portion of this is that like and I forgot where I was going.
Amazing. Just
here it is. Here it is. Remember that there was a lot of confusion over what people could talk about.
Right.
Oh yeah.
We were confused. We went back and forth like 800 times. Like maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe we won't. Is this a genuine review? We'll just say it a bunch. People will figure it out.
There's a reason that we reviewed music for a few episodes,
Yeah. And so I think a lot of this is like finally people are like, oh, I can talk about it now and I'm not going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to talk about it all the time. So I think there's just a lot of that was pent up as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I agree.
That's my head.
I agree. But
Brian Rausch, while we're on the casting couch, Brian Rausch, your turn.
Let us see your shoulders.
Ebony Man announces
just your shoulders.
Ebony Man introduces nice white man to the casting couch.
What do I have to do to get you to put on an Aquaman costume?
How bad do you really want it? Don't ask
man. Oh man, I think I'm in the wrong place. No,
it's fine.
I think
Everybody,
I walked
it's
through the
fine.
wrong door.
Everybody's got to start somewhere in this
Is
business.
this the
You're
hip
in
hop
the
video
right place.
tryout?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, it
that's
is
exactly what we're talking about.
Ew, gross.
Oh my gosh, I have to look at what I'm talking about. Okay, hey folks. So I don't know if you noticed, but when the strike ended, Fantastic Four rumors have surged in popularity. If I was Jim,
max.
I know. If you could buy stocks and rumors, I would tell you to buy. I would buy Fantastic Four rumors. They're only going through the roof. There's only going to be more of them. So essentially, the two I'm going to report on. The first one came last Wednesday, and it comes from Deadline. And basically, it is just straight up Pedro Pascal eyed to play Reed Richards in Fantastic Four. And they are quoting multiple sources that told Deadline that Pedro Pascal is actively in talks to be Mr. Fantastic.
Yep.
Basically, everybody else is reporting the same thing. It seems like it's a likely thing to happen, which took me
did not expect that
for myself. This came out of completely left field,
absolutely,
especially since the role of Mr. Fantastic is not a single father. So I'm just blown away that
Of an
Pedro
adopted
Pascal.
son.
Whatever multiverse you're
Pedro
in,
trying to switch it up.
Yeah, they could be trying to switch it up. Bye, Sue. But in this case, we're looking at Pedro Pascal as our Mr. Fantastic, which, wow. We can talk about that in a second. The other rumor that we have is there's lots of Doctor Doom rumors right now.
There's also a Galactus rumor, which is incredible as well.
I love that rumor. That was crazy.
So I'm getting this from comicbookmovie.com, which basically compiled like a cavalcade of casting rumors. I'm just gonna run them down. None of these are confirmed. I'm gonna say none of these are from what I would say like silver bullet sources, but these are the names in conversation. Essentially for Doctor Doom, Ralph Fiennes has been discussed. We have Jason Clarke from Oppenheimer, John Campea. John Campea is reporting that Mads Mikkelsen has been offered the part, which I don't know. I don't know about that. But essentially, that is the latest rumor is that Mads Mikkelsen is offered the role of Doctor Doom. I don't know. I just don't know about that. And then the Galactus rumor is that Javier Bardem
is a fucking incredible rumor
to be Galactus, which I think is just like, I feel like we're back. I feel like we're back to actor word salad for all of these roles in Fantastic Four. Like all of these people are all over the place. Like Ralph Fiennes is not Jason Clarke, and that's not Mads Mikkelsen for Doctor Doom. No, again, Roman, I can neither confirm nor deny I will be cast as Doctor Doom. It's very different than Brian
If
Rauch.
we find out Brian Rauch got cast as Doctor Doom on this podcast, I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm like,
he's gonna have a lot of
he's
gonna have a lot of splaining to do.
That's gonna be a lot. So that's like your Fantastic Four casting potpourri. So how do people feel about those names? Because I know how I feel about some of them.
I mean, let's start with the one that we know was happening. Like Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. I'm fine with. I mean, I've liked him in all of the things that I feel like he's done recently. Yeah. I mean, he is sort of running a train on every possible fandom. Don't give me that. I saw what you did there. He's sort of like getting involved. He's taking a little like dip out of every like appetizer that is a fandom, like 100%. Star Wars a little bit, video games a little bit, Marvel a little bit. I mean, in 2 years, if he does something DC related, we'll know that like that's just he's making the rounds. But like, so like, I'm fine with it. The other rumors, I mean, I want Javier to
Hold on, because I want to go back because you said this twice.
To what?
I'm fine with it. Why are you just fine with it? Because I'll say this. I'll give you time to get your words together.
Yeah,
I feel like for me, Pedro was not on the list of any casting rumors.
No.
And I was trying to report, or even in our chat, shares many of those potential casting rumors since we knew the movie was coming out.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like this one is relatively true because the other reports are that Fantastic Four wants to start beginning in January.
Which means they would need a cast announcement. I mean, they don't need it, but like by Marvel standards, they would have a cast announcement out right now.
Yeah, because and it's not like back in the day, right, when they did Hall H and it was like you could hold your main cast and record the scenes around it. You can't really do that anymore, right? And so they have to make this announcement because I think that was on the verge of leaking itself if they didn't leak it in general. I like the feel of this, and I talked about it with the guys. I feel like Pedro Pascal in this casting redefines what the movie is going to feel, sound, and look like. You know what I mean? So why are you said just fine twice. So why are you just fine with it? Because you've seen him in other shit now.
I think that's here's the thing.
Talk to me.
We've talked a little bit about a couple of things that we've really liked about the Marvels. Let's just take the last episode, for example.
Okay.
Sure.
The things that are stand out that we really, really enjoyed. Iman Vellani, Teyonah Parris, like other folks that have flown under the radar in terms of castings that we didn't even, I would say Sylvie is, those are all characters that we didn't expect and are actors or actresses that maybe we didn't necessarily have on our radar.
True.
100%.
My concern stems from, is this Marvel throwing money at a big actor because they can read the room and they're like, ooh, people think that we've lost our touch and we don't have it anymore. Ooh, what's someone that we can sort of pin it to the back of? Because this is, let's compare and contrast a little bit, right?
Okay.
Robert Downey Jr., when he got cast as Iron Man, was a man coming back from being on the less than positive side of the tabloids, right? Like he's been documented as being rough to work with. So when he got cast as Iron Man, everybody was like, why?
Yeah.
Like we were all sort of like, cool. And then Chris Hemsworth and then Chris Evans, like all of these folks were folks that didn't have a big repertoire of things as being things that you could pin a franchise to and build a future off of. They were risks.
Brian, pin my hand. I have a comment to bounce that I want
to
rebuttal.
Sounds good.
Go ahead.
I got you.
And so do I think that Pedro Pascal has the acting chops to be able to do it? Sure do. No doubts. Not questioning the man's talent. Do I think that does this feel weird given what's been the recent headlines surrounding Marvel over the course of the past 2 to 3 months? Feels a little weird. That's what makes me skeptical about the ulterior motive. So yes. But Marcus, you had a rebuttal.
What's your hand?
I could have sworn a couple episodes, and this is only me going in. This is me just going into like a little bit because I want to go back and forth with my guy. I could have sworn a couple episodes ago, a few episodes ago, maybe we were reviewing The Last of Us. We had this comment and this conversation because we reviewed The Last of Us and then we reviewed The Mandalorian, and then we reviewed something else with Pedro in it. The Nicolas Cage movie. You know, we watch a lot of movies on this podcast, right? We review a lot.
Unbearable weight of massive talent.
Not me. I watch like 8 things.
We got to step his shit up, but the rest of us, we watch a lot of shit on it.
This guy will watch 2 movies in a weekend.
I watch 2 things in a week.
I can't do any more than that. But I could have sworn that the link across all those episodes was Pedro Pascal don't miss. Brian, is that right? Oh, hold on. Brian, is that right or wrong?
We did see. I do remember us discussing the fact that he was knocked out. He was unconscious in both The Mandalorian and The Last of Us, and he was still being top billed, and everybody was fine with it. The man was unconscious in the story, and people loved him.
And he did it right. So I want to thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. So I also want to go into, if I'm Marvel, now I'm on the business side. I'm not even talking about the casting because I do agree with you that Marvel heard it, and I think that they are now in a different type of bag. And we've had this discussion since we heard about all the reshoots and everything that's been going on. Marvel had to do something though. You got to answer the call.
That's fair.
Right. And I'm thinking as a business decision, yes, Chris Evans was Human Torch before he was Captain America, and Chris Hemsworth was I don't know what the fuck before Thor.
Chris Hemsworth was doing a whole lot of like indie work. He like the biggest thing he was in before Avengers was Cabin in the Woods, which was a meta.
God
it was like a meta type
that movie.
Scary
movie.
Kind of sort of horror movie.
Yeah, that was I want to go back and revisit that because I like the concept of that movie. I just feel the execution wasn't.
It's a phenomenal movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It was good. Or maybe I don't remember it that well. But what I'm saying is, if he is still the top bill, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And Pedro Pascal don't miss, right?
Mhm.
I absolutely understand what you're saying, but this casting feels like an old school Marvel casting for me because I don't know if there's that many unknown people that you can cast specifically for the first family for Marvel. I feel like you have to go with somebody that people are familiar with or know, because that's going to define their experience. Fair. If you get a brand new face, now when they did it with the old school 2015 Mr. Fantastic, that's different. Right? 2005. I'm sorry. Was that 2005 or 2015?
No, that was 2015.
Are we talking Fan Fortest?
No. We don't talk about that movie here.
Okay.
Okay. That's what I thought you were talking about.
No. I mean the original one with Chris Evans as the Human Torch.
Oh man.
That was 2005, 2006. Actually 2003.
I want to say it's early 2000s.
Yeah.
2005.
So 2005. See, I remember timeline. I'm not good with history, but I remember timelines through music and movies. Like when did this stuff come out? That's my ADHD coming out. Maybe a little bit of anyway. So that's what I'm saying to that is I feel like they had to do this, right? I feel like you have to go with somebody who's familiar. Yeah. And the same with the rest of the three of your casting. You can maybe have a newer face in there for the Human Torch and the Thing. But for Sue and the first family, I feel like you got to go. That's all. That's.
I think, and you know what? That is a very, very fair rebuttal to the point where I'm like, you're right. I mean, as a comic book fan, and as the three of us are, knowing how much weight Mr. Fantastic has in the Marvel universe, you're right. You can't take a chance on some baby face who's never had any experience before to say you get to be the linchpin that ties all this shit together. Right. There's going to be folks that want to see someone have some faith in it. I think Marvel maybe has earned me kind of before I didn't question any of the shit that they did. And now, just with how they didn't have a fucking showrunner for like this is the same company that months ago we found out just didn't have a showrunner on a lot of their projects. And I'm like, it's basically made me been like, when you find out your best friend, like you find out some like shit about like your best friend finally buys a house and you're like, this motherfucker was eating ramen out of a shoe when I knew him in college and he just bought a house.
Yeah.
Okay, like
and he thinks that he still needs to eat ramen out of the shoe.
Right. It's that same level of energy. It's that same level of energy that I'm like, ooh, like what is this about? So like they just kind of earned this like side eye of like,
oh yes,
really?
It's a definite side eye. I mean, Doug, that was masterful.
That was actually really beautiful. Yeah, that was really good.
No, I mean, like who knew we needed showrunners? Like
who knew that I needed silverware? Fucking everybody, man.
No,
like,
that's exactly it.
But this happens when it gets bigger. It's the Marvel issue, right? I don't think that it's superhero fatigue necessarily.
No.
I think that people will watch a good superhero movie.
Yes.
One thing it has against it, and I go back to the music conversation, is that it's like Drake. It's the longevity problem, right?
Yes.
Right. If you have top 3 rappers in my mind right now, just off the top of the dome, Biggie Smalls, Tupac, J. Cole, Drake, Jay-Z, right? Those are just the top, just off the top of my head, no particular order. All of these people have had a longevity kind of an issue. Jay-Z has carried it the best. Biggie did not last as long. Unfortunately, Tupac did not last as long. Drake is having what we call the Marvel issue in my mind, right? Mm-hmm. And it's that he's been in the game so fucking long. Your sound is now white noise. We know you can make a good movie. Good is no longer the standard. Now people want you to elevate your shit even more. And when you look at Marvel, it's like, how do you do better than the shit that I hold? People that hold to nostalgia. Like for me, I remember Iron Man 1. How can I beat the memory that I tied to that first initial? You can't go back to your first taste. You can never get that shit. So
yeah.
I just think it's all.
I mean, if you could go back to your first taste, drug dealers would be out of the business fucking years ago.
That took a turn.
That's like he's painting a picture tonight, though.
Yeah, he is.
But then, like,
Picasso.
like that's the fucking thing is that like you're right though. Like that's such a good way of putting it. And then I think the other compounding factor with all of it, not to have this turn into another Marvel episode, but like the other compounding factor is you've asked us for such a long time to stick with you, stick with you, stick with you, stick with you. And at some point in time, I'm gonna be like, hey man, is this pizza coming or should I eat? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, because at the end of the day, you can't keep saying stick with me. I'm gonna get back to that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you that feeling again, and then that feeling never comes. Like
because we get older. And, oh, sorry, no, actually, go ahead, Brian. I cut you off.
All I was going to say was that I feel like Marvel also does this thing, and I think they have a really good talent for casting, and I feel like Pedro Pascal enters into their formula where they're wanting to get a known actor that's like just about to blow up. Pedro Pascal, I believe, has only done a handful of movies. I think he's only done 1 or 2. Otherwise, he's a TV star. So I think they're in that sweet spot where they can probably pay him not as much as they would pay like any of the other larger, like Adam Driver. He's probably super expensive.
Yeah.
And he probably would have done a good job, but he's probably too expensive for what they want. And and they've said on record that Fantastic Four is a cornerstone like story for them. They want someone that's going to be with them that they can afford. And I feel like Pedro Pascal, when you look at it from a financial like situation, that's perfect. He hasn't done a lot of movies. He can't demand that much money. He's done a lot of TV. He knows what to do, but he hasn't done a franchise movie. So they can say like, we'll pay you this much over this much time because this is your first franchise movie, blah, blah, blah. So in that sense, that would make sense.
Right. You're right, Brian. That is his first franchise movie. I guess I feel like he's been here for a while. Once you hit the SNL point, it feels like, to me, once you get to SNL, that's either the catapulting point for you, or it's what you just said. People are sniffing out your first, like that you're about to be up and coming here soon, right? So for me, it feels like he's been around a long time. But you're right, The Mandalorian is just a TV show technically, and the Last of Us 2 is just a TV show, and he's like second billing on the show, on the movies that we talked about that we reviewed for him. But this is his first. As the lead in a franchise.
Yeah, I mean,
as a lead, I should say.
The only things, again, you're right, as a lead. I mean, the first big movie that I can see him in, like big movie, is The Great Wall, that movie where Matt Damon played a Chinese person.
What? He did what?
He was in that?
Wait, go back.
Apparently.
Matt Damon did what?
Oh, yeah, no, Marcus. The Great Wall is a movie about Matt Damon, who plays a Chinese soldier who's defending China and the Great Wall of China from dragon aliens that were put there from years and years and years ago.
What year was this made?
It was made in 2016, the year of our Lord. Like, it was a lot that was going on there. So, like, and then the next thing he did after that, was Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
Oh yeah, I love him in that.
Then he did Equalizer 2.
Then he did in that too.
Then he did If Beale Street Could Talk, and then after that it was Wonder Woman 1984.
Get the fuck out of here. Yo, he has really done well for. Okay, now this is a different conversation. Pedro Pascal, you've done really well for yourself.
He absolutely has.
Good for you, man.
It's like he's been to be cast as a somebody correct me if this is the wrong language. To be cast as like a B lead or a co-star or a co-lead in these movies, because with the Equalizer, it's Denzel Washington and then he's the bad guy, and with Wonder Woman, it's Gal Gadot and then he's the bad guy, and then there's the other movies like where he is like the second role to that. But for this to be your first major lead in that. With a cast of obviously like your co-leads with the Fantastic Four family, that's kind of impressive.
And also, really quick, with Wonder Woman 1984, the rest of that movie was such a shit show that you even forgot that he was the main villain. Like, it's not Kristen Wiig's Cheetah that's the main villain. He is the main villain
Maxwell
of that
Lord.
movie.
Yeah.
Yes, he's Maxwell Lord in that.
Even in Kingsman: Golden Circle, like he is a villain well, he's a good guy turned villain in Kingsman Golden Circle too. So like, damn, that's okay, Brian. Shout out to you. That's
and also the Great Wall. The movies we're doing for the next bonus episode is The Great Wall or it's Money Plane. It's one of the two.
What?
Or Money Plane.
Oh,
we are
shit.
watching a bad movie for our Patreon subscribers because I feel like we kind of have to. They've stuck with us for this long.
I remember the trailers for The Great Wall, and
watch them.
I remember. Oh my gosh, I need to find the trivia for this, or it's going to drive me mad. Matt Damon turned down something huge,
something gigantic
to be
for that
in
movie.
The Wall, and
Sounds
oh my gosh, I gotta find this. But yeah,
Brian,
I'll come back to it. But he turned down something big to be in the
like
Wall.
Will Smith turning down The Matrix for Wild Wild West. I'm happy about that decision.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think I found it. I think he was offered the
us.
part in Avatar.
Oh, what? Oh, I do.
So Matt Damon,
shit the bucket. Matt Damon.
Matt Damon
was offered the lead in Avatar, and then he turned it down for
The Great
Wall. You know, and those Avatar movies, they went away immediately, right? They didn't plan.
You know what we're still talking.
You know 7 years.
You know what we're all still talking about.
Hilarious.
The Great Wall.
I called it The Wall. Sorry.
Nope, you're fine, Brian. It doesn't matter. He plays a Chinese man in a movie about alien lizards that are attacking the Great Wall of China.
No.
Yeah, he.
Am I gonna commit a hate crime watching this movie?
Yeah, I don't want to do it. I'll boycott the fuck out of this shit.
I don't know about.
I'm kidding. I'm obviously kidding, but I can't believe that.
What was the name of the girl that played an Asian American woman across from George Clooney?
Oh man, are we talking about Emma Stone?
Yeah, so he and Emma Stone. I want to cast. I want someone to have the balls to cast a movie about diversity, but for all of the white folk that played people they shouldn't have played. So I want Tom Cruise in it from The Last Samurai. I want Matt Damon. I want Matt Damon in there. I want Matt Damon in there for this, and I want Emma Stone. And then we got to get one more, and that's gonna be.
Are you putting the Avengers together?
Extraordinary miscasting.
And then I want Daniel Day-Lewis from when he was in Last of the Mohicans.
Oh God. There's a couple blackface ones in there too. I can't think of it right now. Who's that guy?
I can't either.
Scarlett Johansson in Ghost in the Shell.
That's right, in Ghost in the Shell.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Scarlett Johansson, Ghost in the Shell.
Damn,
and then I mean, we could call Jessica Alba. I mean, we've covered that.
I feel like Jessica Alba would be in on the joke, though. I mean, maybe.
I mean,
for Honey, not for okay. Yeah.
She'd be the one looking around and be like, "No worries, don't worry, guys. We've done this before. It's all right. It's gonna be fine."
The fact that I never figured out Honey, and I had a really good conversation with a friend of mine about that whole Jessica Alba shit, right? And really enlightened my perspective. I really appreciated that conversation. What I couldn't get over was like immediately she went and then played Sue Storm.
Yep.
Oh yeah, no, it was like a hard right.
Blue eyed, like they just
which erased like they're like Latina. No, she's not. Like
that's why everybody
that movie
absolutely not.
I mean, that movie made her look like an anime character, and I'll say this. I will say this so many other times, but like, I don't know why they couldn't have just been like, anyway, Sue Storm's Latina. Moving on. Like, I don't know why they tried so hard. They killed her hair for it. Whenever you watch that movie, Jessica Alba's hair died from the bleach,
so we could enjoy it.
Yep.
But yeah. Gentlemen, anything else that you wanted to talk about Fantastic Four castings? We went on a diatribe.
We did. Jessica Alba's hair, of course, needs to be talked about. Look, people, Dr. Doom, like, what are we feeling here? Like, I feel like this is a bunch of, like, I don't believe any of this. I don't believe any of these castings.
No. I can tell you the one I don't want. I can tell you the one for certain I don't want. And I don't want Mads Mikkelsen.
Me neither.
Play him.
You don't want Mads Mikkelsen?
No, because this feels like hey, we found a moderately European man who might be able to do like a moderately European accent, and we really think that he could bring that moderately European energy to Dr. Doom.
You keep emphasizing that moderately.
I don't want
nondescript European.
I want. Well, is he from Germany? Maybe. Like we don't know.
Could be.
If he's not from Germany, is he from Russia? Also, maybe. We don't know. I don't want it. I don't want it. If
don't
he's
want it
gonna
either.
play him, I want him to do a very American accent. Like I want him to only be like, I want him to fucking speak with a Southern drawl. Like I want us to go exactly the opposite way.
I feel like with Pedro now, once again, it changes everything, right? You need somebody. Now I tell you, they nailed it in the 2000s. You gotta have a good chemistry between him and Sue Storm and him and Dr. Doom and Victor Von Doom. Now in the 2005 version, the guy from Nip Tuck, I think that was a really good Dr. Doom.
Such a good cast.
That was very good.
They really made it clear. Like it almost felt like they did not like each other in real life.
I thought he didn't want to be there. I got
that's
the
what I
that
thought.
he just didn't want to be there at all.
Yeah, he was like, "No, fuck this movie. I'm just doing it for the check, so I can go back to Nip Tuck."
That's right.
That's Nip Tuck is how I found out about FX's like. This is weird, but like soft porn, pushing the envelope type shit. You know how they like will show certain stuff like on like FX.
Like after 9 p.m.
Like gratuitous side boob where you're like,
oh,
I mean,
he really showed that shit. Like Nip Tuck was my show.
You can
not
see
just
the
for that, but it was
hey, tune into FX after 10:30 and you can see the bottom of a butt.
Woo!
Yep. Not a whole butt.
No, that is that's exactly it.
Half boob, half butt. That's a whole naked body to somebody.
To some sexually repressed children, that's what that is. Come on, man. Help me out. 13-year-old. Sorry. Sexually repressed. I said children. I meant sexually repressed teens.
Marcus froze, and I was like, "Well, I gotta jump in here, man."
Nope. I just wanted Brian. I wanted all of us to just shut the fuck up.
Maybe I just mute myself maybe I need to take a timeout.
No, I feel like this was a very normal experience for a lot of people that watched that show. I'm happy to say that because one, it's FX. It's a cable show. So as a kid, not saying this happened to me, but if it did, you're just cruising late night and you're like, I just need to find someone to watch on TV. And then lo and
Brian's
behold,
giving us
FX.
the OJ explanation.
And I mean, I'm dead serious. This is a true story. And you're just like, oh, that's a whole breast. What am I watching? And then you're like, this happens? Yeah. And then it's like a unicorn moment because then you watch FX in the middle of the day. That doesn't happen.
It's not
and then you end up watching the next 6 episodes of that show and they're like, nope, never again. You got to find that one.
That is true because then they don't show the nudity in the next 3 episodes after that.
And I think it's super confusing. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's just super confusing because I thought there were broadcast standards. I guess not for FX after 9
And then,
PM.
do you remember the first time you watched HBO and somebody's hanging dong on HBO and you're like, "What the fuck is this?" Like you went from
hanging dong.
You went from FX where you caught kind of like a veiled silhouetted side boob. And then some dude turns around on Oz, and you're like, "What the fuck?" Like it's just like a jarring moment.
I can't relate to that because we didn't have HBO growing up.
We didn't either, but I remember I had basic cable, and then my friend would get Oz, or he would get
oh my gosh,
6 feet under on DVD, and we'd watch those, and I'd be like, "This is on television? Like
this is happening in real life?
Where is this happening? Give me the channel number."
I mean, that's amazing. I feel like I had a window. Into your childhood, Doug.
Yeah,
I love it.
We've all been there. Sticky hands, whole hearts.
I did originally ask about Dr. Doom casting, but then we ended up here, folks. I want to make this clear.
Good luck.
Listen, if we don't talk about it here, where can you talk about it? You know what I mean?
I think that might be the AKA for this.
Brian, to your question.
What's up?
I don't like any of those castings. I know, but I feel like I can tell what they're looking for from the Javier Bardem and the
wherever we donate, we'll link them this episode.
We'll link them another episode.
Yep. Where we donate that we're going to donate to Cherry, the AKA is Sticky Hands Little Hearts.
I feel like I do know what they are looking for. For Galactus, they are big on the voice, right? Because it was rumored to be Antonio Banderas, and now it's Javier Bardem.
Okay.
So they want, or it was also what was his guy from Taken?
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson. Jesus Christ! So like they obviously want somebody with an iconic voice to lead that. It sounds like for Doom, those castings kind of scream out. They want somebody a little bit older, somebody a little bit more seasoned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To kind of go toe to toe with Pedro Pascal a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't like any of them, but I'm excited to see what they do.
I mean, if it were Antonio Banderas, it would make it easy on me. I wouldn't have to get him confused with anybody else. So, which is fine.
Who does not look anything like him?
No, but I don't have to get him vaguely confused with some.
Oh my God, is that Ricky Martin? No, it's not.
It is absolutely not.
Oh my gosh.
Ricky Martin as Galactus would be hilarious.
Oh my gosh,
that would be wild.
I'd watch that.
That's a party Galactus. Anything else that we want to talk about Fantastic Four? Brian, thank you for sticking with us and laying us down there.
We butchered the fuck out your news.
No, that's okay. That's okay. These castings, all the Doctor Doom stuff, I just all the salt. I ate a cup of salt.
It's a lot. I mean,
because who knows?
And I'm sorry to be such like the second guesser on these castings that we've talked about today.
No,
but
it needs to be
until
said.
something real comes. Like I get so nervous to get too excited about any particular cast just because it feels like anybody and their brother can be like, I heard that Bryan Cranston's going to play the Joker. Like, what the fuck? Like,
there was like a time period from like July to August where I swear to Galactus that there was like a new confirmed like Fantastic Four casting and like just this is who it is. And I was like, is this a game? Like, is this a meme that we're all doing? Like it was exhausting. So
the other day I was putting half of them shits in there.
Yeah.
So,
half of them were for Marcus.
Half of them was for me.
Gentlemen, for my piece of news, I want to pivot us a little bit away from the superhero realm, and I want to talk about Ridley Scott for a minute. Right. Now, you might be familiar with Ridley Scott because he's the man who directed Gladiator. We all love Gladiator. Russell Crowe was great. It's a period movie that did relatively well. I would say it was sort of the standard for historical dramas that they were sort of going for after that. He has a movie coming out on Wednesday starring Joaquin Phoenix as Napoleon. And he has been not kind to people from France regarding Napoleon.
Fuck no.
So like
stop this man.
It's not nice. So most people are saying like this is an incredible movie. Like you should go and see it. It's outstanding. According to this Variety piece that I'm looking at, The Guardian's Peter Bradshaw said like, hey, this is a 5-star movie. Like it's a must see. But the French version of GQ magazine said it was deeply clumsy, unnatural, and unintentionally funny.
And what the hell of a description.
That's funny.
And essentially, it's because none of them are the French are mad because no one's speaking French. Like it's basically what they're mad about is they're basically saying like, hey, we're really mad that people are like pro-British. Like we're not getting any type of like identity here. But what's really funny is how Ridley Scott is responding to this. Now, most directors would take this feedback and be like, hey, what kind of person do you think would sit through a movie that's 2.5 to 3 hours long and it's all in French? No one wants to read subtitles for that long. He said in response to these, he said, the French don't even like themselves.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Ridley.
So he a savage motherfucker about like how he feels about it. So basically he said in response to the hate that it's gotten from the French specifically, he said, quote, the French don't even like themselves. The audience that I showed it to in Paris, they loved it. And so yeah, that's a lot. This is also relevant because he held the premiere for the movie in Paris. and the French critics were like mad about it. They were like, the movie's bloated. What else did they say? Well, the dynamic between stoic Joaquin Phoenix and smoldering Vanessa Kirby intrigues. The French emperor's strange relationship with Josephine distracts from the director's specialty, epic war footage. So the French are not happy about this.
They are fucking pissed about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, not happy. So there you go. I just wanted to share that because this is just like an unhinged response to any type of criticism whatsoever that I thought was very funny. Thoughts on response to this movie in particular?
I felt like the funnier one that I saw, not funnier because this could be fucked up to be honest, but one of the funnier ones that I saw of like his responses was like in the scene, apparently Napoleon shoots like cannonballs at the pyramids in Egypt. And he was like, I don't know if that's historically accurate. I just put it in there to show that he just took over the country. I was like, damn, like he basically goes, there's a couple comments. He's like, I got no idea if this is historically accurate or not.
Right.
I just put the shit in the movie. I'm like, well, fuck, man. It seemed like you just had a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
No, Brian, please.
I mean, I do appreciate a director that's not like doubling down on like, no. These are the historical events, and I'm putting them on the screen. Like, I do appreciate Ridley Scott's like, I don't know, I just thought it looked cool. Like, okay,
that's
all
why
right,
you
man.
hired me.
Marcus, to your point, in this same article, he talks to, so there were people in early November who criticized him saying like Napoleon didn't shoot at the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
His response to them was, quote, get a life. And then after that, he said this. So he said, he goes, I've done a lot of historical films. I'm finding I read a report of someone else's report 100 years after the event. So I wonder how much they romance and elaborate. How accurate is it? And then he says, well, my biggest response is, were you there? That's the fucking answer.
Yo, this dude is like fed up. He's like, you don't hire me to do historically accurate shit. I am a movie producer that is meant to like make shit. Like, what the fuck?
This has last week at work vibes, and I mean, he just does not care. Like, he's cleaning out his locker. He's like, I don't know, maybe they shot at the pyramids. You don't know.
Yeah,
I'm kind of fucking with it a little bit. It's kind of like one of those, like, when I say it's like inspired by a true story, that doesn't mean it's a fucking true story. Like, bitch, go do your own research.
That too. Like, right? Like, those movies shouldn't be the defining like text of any history. Like, they should inspire you to at least bare minimum, you Google it and you find the history.com article and you're like, no way, this happened. Right? Like, even for Killers of the Flower Moon, when we talked with Dr. John Little, he even talked about like, oh, it wasn't exactly how it happened in the movie, but like this is the point they were trying to make. Like, even for something like that, he's telling you to go read the book. Like, so I don't know. It's kind of refreshing. Someone's like, yeah, I made a movie, but like, no, it's not accurate. Like nerd. You know, just like,
I mean, that's the vibe for sure of like, get a life, nerd. Like,
fucking get your head out of book and go get some ass.
Right?
Like,
like, do you like fun? I'm sorry you don't like fun. Get out of my face.
So, and again, you're saying that in response to scenes from a war battle. Like, if your knee-jerk reaction when you walk into a war scene in a movie is like, not accurate, you are not in the right place.
This movie may not be for you.
I do feel like we do. Now I know we making jokes, but I would also be bad if I went back to watch some black historically shit and somebody was like, "Yeah, you did that shit, motherfucker." I'm gonna be like, "No, he did not."
If it was made like with like a fucking like Florida textbook,
like
look at all the skills.
Like, look at all that. He went and became a business owner. I would be mad as hell too. Like, I'm not gonna front with you.
No, thanks, slave owner, for all the skills you equipped me with. Like,
I appreciate you for your gratitude. Like, what the fuck?
So thankful.
I'm gonna be on Ridley Scott ass too.
I will say it did inspire me. There was a historical movie that I watched that, like, when I was in college, that inspired me to do some more digging. And I'm looking it up right now because I enjoyed the movie, but it made me actually do some of that historical digging. And it was Kingdom of Heaven. That was that movie about with Orlando Bloom. And I remember when I was in like my medieval history class, like, I did some digging and I read and I was like, okay, so not entirely inaccurate. but I didn't go to the movie and been like then wrote a book report on the movie and was like, and then Orlando Bloom storms Jerusalem. Like
Ridley Scott also directed that movie.
Holy shit, he did. Look at that shit.
Yep. Yep. So I feel like you have a kinship with Ridley Scott here, Doug. I mean, I'm digging it.
To be honest, Roman, I want a "Were You There" T-shirt as well. Like that sounds like very much my.
That'll be on our eventual shop right next to #GenuineReview shirts.
Yes.
Were you there?
Were you there?
We have so many. I heard somebody. There was. This is separate. There was a little Twitter meme thread going on where like it was like a little fad going on about like mayo is so white, right? Of like white people, like mayo is so white that, or you know what I mean? Yeah, so they did it. It was like cocaine is so white that it does, etc. So say they name something white, like puts raisins in the potato salad, like something like that. Y'all follow?
Yeah.
Right. There was one that reminded me of Brian because it called it out directly.
All right, well, here we go.
There you go. All right, Brian, strap in.
Because it said cocaine so white, it says boy howdy.
Oh, gee golly willikers, you got me there.
And I was like, oh fuck, they got my man Brian, man.
No, they did. Dead to rights. They got me locked in. Yeah, that's all right. I'll take that. That's fine.
I will say I have made an active attempt in my new job not to cuss because it's corporate. So I've been trying really conscious of it. And so I have out loud several times said Jeepers, and people are like, where are you from? And I'm like, that's Brian's fault. Like that is who that is. I said Jeepers, like, ooh, they'll be like, someone will be like, oh yeah, and then they said this, I'll be like, oh, Jeepers, I don't like that. I'm like, they're like, who are you? And I'm like,
boy howdy.
I'm friends with Brian. That's who
I guarantee I've said that Brian is fixing us because we are broken.
Yeah, because when I worked in higher ed, there were moments in my office where I looked at Marcus and I'd be like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like,
I can't even explain to y'all the way that I have turned into Doug Wagner in his office now. I find myself talking to other students like, what the fuck is going on in this goddamn school?
Yeah. Gentlemen, anything else that you all want to chat about on this week's episode?
There. Can I just go down a plethora of movie things that I thought was just like it was
absolutely
like,
yes.
Today.
Let's do a bullet list.
Well, welcome to Marcus's free association corner.
Yep.
God, don't get me
moving
going down
away from the couch. We're in the corner now. We're just gonna follow the dots on the wall,
and it's because someone put us there.
It's a cleanup session. What?
Oh,
ew. All right,
we both went a different direction.
We both went
we
were not connected on that one. Tron 3 begins filming after the holidays.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, you know who's in the third? The guy who was scaling the damn building.
I'm willing to.
Tron. I mean, the guy from 5 Seconds to Mars, whose name I can't remember.
Yeah,
Morbius himself.
Michael
Morbius himself.
I think he's in that movie.
Jared Leto.
DC's The Penguin has resumed filming. Apparently, Wish is tracking to earn the Disney movie Wish is tracking to earn $75 million on its worldwide box office. Yep. The movie had a $200 million budget, so there's that.
Most of that I feel like was Chris Pine.
You like Chris Pine?
A new Jason Bourne movie is in the works as well.
I saw that as well.
The Blackening 2 is happening.
Okay.
And obviously the trailer out today of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom as well.
What did you say? The Blackening?
Yes, The Blackening. There was a movie that did really well. It was called The Blackening. The first one came out, and apparently it did really, really well with a low budget. So now they're having it's an all black cast, and I think they're playing with they had to play this game or something like that, and it's like really a cultural movie. So, but it did really well, so yeah, there's that. But those are and of course Dungeons and Dragons sequel, it more than likely is going to happen. That's what
that makes me so happy.
And if you like these things, Chicken Run: Dawn of the Nugget apparently has really, really good reviews on it.
Does it really?
Yes.
Apparently it did really, really good.
You want to also know something weird about that movie?
That the claymation factory shut down and they had to borrow claymation from
that was going to be my fact, is that the claymation that they use, that Aardman Productions uses to make their movies, that had shut down and they are running out of clay. Like they are like, we made that sheep so many fucking times, we're out of clay.
They need they're hot. Wait a minute. No way. They
had to borrow clay. It closed in the middle of the movie. They had to go borrow clay from Hansel and Gobbet It was another clay animation movie that they did in the past. They had to go use some of that clay to finish Chicken Run.
Do they need? I have Play-Doh. I don't know if I don't know if
it's not the
that's
same consistency.
helpful.
Brian.
Okay.
It's not.
I can imagine you walking in and the guy who's like studied clay animation for years just tosses that shit at the wall like, motherfucker, you think this shit is a game?
Or I want Brian to do a full 20-minute presentation on how they could use Play-Doh, like putting it through the little like spaghetti maker. See, and you can make looks like this.
Wouldn't this be fun in your movie?
Wouldn't this be fun?
Could you please start it
Wouldn't
off like
this be fun?
Can Brian please start it off by saying, if my kids can use it, so can you. If my sons love this, so can you.
My son made a very, very convincing taco out of this that I was confused with for a hot second. You can make a fucking sheep out of it.
I'm sure that it would have a home in your movie.
You go back to that goddamn sheep.
Man, do they need to like do like a Berlin airlift situation of clay to these people? Like, just airlift, clay.
Yeah, man. So there's just a plethora of news, and Deadpool 3 also starts back filming because that's super important to the next stage of Marvel.
Man, that's gonna be Deadpool 3 is still scheduled to come out mid-year next year. So good luck to that cast and crew. They're gonna be pushing it hard.
Yeah, no shit. That and they're going to be pushing it hard, and people are going to be excited about that. Meanwhile, the Madam Web people are going to be pushing it, and people are like, "No, thank you.
We didn't even talk about
away."
Somebody said, "Why did they make a Morbius for women?" And I thought that shit was hilarious.
Yeah, they certainly did. They certainly did.
Oh no.
Well, thanks for running us down, Marcus.
That was a good way to end.
No. Gentlemen, anything that you all would like to plug this week?
Hey folks, I'm here to talk to you about Color Me Confetti. It is my wife's Etsy store that she runs it with her sister, and it is full of all types of party decorations. It's not one of those online places where you have to buy it in a package and you're spending $50 for one thing. You can buy everything separately. So it's all one word, Color Me Confetti. We'll have a link in the podcast bio. You can go check that out on Etsy. We have a ton of celebrations coming up over the next 6 weeks, whatever holiday you're celebrating. So go check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Marcus?
Make sure that whatever you do, make sure that you follow the mantra, never offended, always humble, or NOAH for short. Go buy yourself some gear on the website through the link in my bio. Go ahead, go listen to some music, go listen to some Soul Tile, Marcus J. Destin. I am in the process of building up the momentum to start my next album. And so, it's going to be a really fun time. I got to perform at South by South Dakota a couple weeks ago. And that was a really good time. And so it really inspired me. And, speaking to Daniel French from LA, who was, speaking into me about, doing more of the things you love with music and feeding back into yourself, getting back into the vibe of music. So get ready and prepare yourselves. There's a lot of unreleased shit, a lot of shit that's going to be re-recorded, and we'll figure it out and put it out. But until then, make sure you follow the mantra, never offended, always humble, baby.
Absolutely. And I want to plug this podcast. So if you are feeling like you want to share the love, share it with a friend or a family member. Hey, you're going to be sitting with a lot of your family around a meal on Thursday. What better time to bring it up than when you're in a deep conversation, when your uncle brings politics. Up when your uncle says like, oh yeah, they're vaccinating the birds with microchips to track our movements, you could say, well, can I share something that I love with you all? I want to share with you that I love films in black and white. So like, it's a great pivot. Use us as your pivot.
Look, and all I'm saying is I had this conversation with my sister-in-law, and she's like, "You have a podcast?"
That same bird conversation?
Not the bird conversation. But she's like, "I saw that you're on a podcast, folks. Hey, you're gonna see a lot of Black Friday stuff. You're gonna see a lot of stuff. All I want to say is that if you want to be involved with this podcast, help us choose a movie to talk about. If you're like, hey, those guys don't talk about romantic comedies enough, we don't." A Patreon subscriber, recommend those movies. We will talk about them. You've heard us talk about Barbie. It's not a romantic comedy, but it's a little bit off of what we typically cover. So that is a great way to spend some of that Black Friday
absolutely
time. That's all.
It is. So I don't want to throw us off Doug's off his pivot and introducing a thing in a conclusion. But Roman Myers did have a good question, and this is the Harvest episode. And by the time people listen to this, if you're not on a Patreon, it'll be the holiday of giving thanks. And so I did want us to go around and to genuinely respond with something we are all thankful for.
Okay, I can do mine. Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, go for
so it. I am thankful for 3 things, and I'm going to just give you the 3 that when I'm having a moment, I'm like, what do I need to express some gratitude. 1, I am very thankful for my family. You know, the unit that is the Wagner House here in Vermilion. We do good stuff. We've got a good unit. This is a house of love, and I'm very thankful that my kids get to grow up in that, and they appreciate that. I'm very thankful for my health. I've had some friends who have had some health scares as of late. And so anytime that happens, sort of makes you go like, okay, well, you know, be thankful for where I'm at. And last, but certainly not least, I am thankful that I am in a position that weekly I have the agency, ability, money, and time to be able to do this with the 2 of you weekly. And I am very grateful for that, because there's nobody I would rather do it with than the 2 of you. And it's just, who else gets to say that weekly they get to bullshit with their friends for the better part of an hour and a half? Not many people. So yeah, that's what I have.
That's good. That's good. Brian?
Oh, I'm getting all.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, I think it's a lot around a lot of the same lines. I'm really thankful. I'm really thankful for my family. My wife Maggie. She's she's incredible. And I love my kids. And one thing that I'm thinking of, I'm very thankful for is I went to work and Liam snuck in a note. And it said, "I love you," and it was just a big surprise, and I was really thankful for that, and because he's been having notes in his lunchbox, and I told him I was going to campus, and he's like, "Oh, you're going to campus and you have a lunch, you gotta have this note," and it was awesome. I was very, very thankful for that. And lastly, obviously Doug, you've already talked about the podcast, but I do want to say I'm genuinely thankful for the podcast, because we talk about some like really deep inside baseball here, like a lot of stuff for our longtime listeners. Like, you already know our feelings about Joss Whedon. For any new listeners, I have some
fuck Josh, motherfuck Josh.
There it is.
Yeah, and I'm really thankful that I can just show up here every week, and I can just immediately start talking about some really weird movie fact, and Doug and Marcus will be like, "Yeah, man, that is messed up." Also, another thing, did you know this? And like, I just get so much energy from it, and I love coming here every Monday. I'm excited for Mondays because I get to talk about something I love with people I love. So that is what I'm thankful for.
That's true. That's good. Thanks, Brian. One, I have to go family. My family means everything to me. It is the battery in my back. So I am thankful for that. And tied to that is being Black. It is the most dangerous shit in the world sometimes. It can be, but it is the most beautiful thing in the world to me. So I am thankful for who I am and everything that, that comes with that, because it allows me to put it and my whole self into everything that I do and everything that we do. It is stemmed and based and rooted in that Blackness and in that Black family and in that Black family love, at its base. And so I'm really grateful for that. I am thankful for the ability to have just good friends the older I get. And it's something that, and it's friends you don't think will, that you'll be friends with, that you never thought in a million years, that your life would look like this. And I'm really grateful to be in this position to have friends like Doug and Brian, which will also be my third thankful thing, will be this podcast, but also like the Megans, the Johns, and the Kellys, and the Brooks, and the everybody in my corner who's ever in my corner at all times, who believe in me more than I believe in myself and see the thing that I don't see yet, and all of that potential. I'm thankful to have those people in my corner that just continuously believe in me and push me to be great. And of course, I'm really grateful for this podcast. I'm grateful for Roman Myers. I'm grateful for, the dedicated people who watch. I'm thankful for the newer people who watch. Every week we have more people listening. Every week I get more compliments about how they love our chemistry. So I love what this podcast is. I love that we stick to our guns. I love Doug and I love Brian, both as individuals and as my podcast hosts, as some of my 2 best friends. I also just love that we did it independently and are doing it independently. And this is shit we get to brag about and come to a space and talk about all of the geeky shit in the world and not even flinch. And we get to be at this intersection of everything that we are as individuals. This is like a cross section of what the fuck we are and who the fuck we are and what we stand by. And so I'm really grateful for this space to be able to do that. And I'm really hoping, you know, that for years to come that we'll be able to do this, even if it is just us catching up and we're the only three listening. I don't give a damn. I'll be listening.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah. Well said all. Gentlemen, we have a 3-step process to success.
Yeah, sir.
What is the first step, Brian?
The first step, folks, is read a book. It's super easy. Just pick up any book that is laying around. You don't need to make it complicated. And I know you have time coming up that you have off.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to keep you accountable. Gotcha. Use some of that time to read a book. Just pick it up and read a book.
Absolutely. Marcus, what's the second step?
Oh, it's getting colder, baby. You got to still make sure you're drinking some water. You know what I mean? Today I felt like I was going to pass out. My knees was buckling and shit. I'm taking a lot of medicine for my wisdom teeth, but I got to make sure I balance out the water that I'm taking with the medicine I'm drinking, you know what I mean, that I'm taking and stuff like that. So just drink some water, treat yourself to the good shit. If you got to get it out the spigot a few times, that's cool. But occasionally treat yourself to some of the nice stuff. Get a Crystal Light, spice it up. Get one of them bottles that turns the scent of the air to the flavor, and then it flavors your water by science or some shit like that. I've been wanting to try that. Oh, it's really dope. It's a really whole dope. It helps increase your water intake.
Marcus is out here drinking scientifically water from the future.
It is fly though. If you look it up, the shit is super fly. So I'm trying to get us that sponsorship deal. But drink that damn water. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And look, y'all, it's also you're about to be with some close friends and family members. Oof. And the last thing we want to have to deal with as we get into Christmas time, I am here to say that you got to wash your ass. You know, don't do that. Be considerate. Look, if you're not going to do it any other time of the year, will you just do it this once? If not for you, then for other people. Like you're going to be around others. Be considerate. Enjoy the occasion. Yeah. Get dressed up. Wash your ass. Wash your knees. Wash your legs. Just wash.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I should have played that Chance the Rapper song. Even better than I was the last time, baby. I'm good.
Ooh, what a way to finish this out. That does it for this week's episode of Films in Black and White. We'll be back next week with another fantastic episode. But in the meantime, in the between time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all next week.
Y'all know what TF going on. Make sure you eat that turkey. Make sure that bitch ain't dry either. And tell your aunt to get out the damn kitchen. She can't cook like she used to. Get out the kitchen. You burning everything, Bertrice. Damn.